Take 5. Hi guys and gals, it's me, Mr. Craig here. And here. I'm part of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay, specifically the Youth Arts Initiative. And I'm very proud of what we've been doing with the Youth Arts Initiative for the past almost 6 years. We've now finished our 4th comic book, Animal Tales. One of the things I want you guys to remind me of when you see me next is to get those t-shirts to everybody. I've got t-shirts waiting for the kids that have done 2 or more comics to get an Animal Tales comic t-shirt. But I also have some t-shirts for Doodle Planet left. So the kids that didn't get an Animal Tales comic, oh my gosh, I'm not getting my words out right today. Some of the kids that didn't get an Animal Tales t-shirt could possibly, depending on how they come into the classroom, they can get a Doodle Planet t-shirt because I've got a couple of those left. So that's pretty cool. Now, I am excited to be doing some of these videos here. I love making movies. In fact, one of the things that I've been doing while I've had this time off is I've been thinking about different videos that I hope to get at, some different video projects. I'm working on one right now, which is a very silly premise where I'm pulling pranks on my mom and my brother in the same house, and it's a whole prank show, so it should be kind of cute. I'm going to call it something like Super Pranks. Another thing that I've been doing is cleaning up my space. I've had years and years of clutter, and I still have so much clutter. It's frustrating. But I've got one of my spaces cleared up so I can finally do some more shooting down here. I'm going to set my timer so I don't go too long because I never stop talking. I keep going until you guys are asleep, and I don't want that to happen. First and foremost, I hope all my kids are doing well. I miss you guys. I miss seeing your faces. I don't even want to go through a whole list of my kids because I've got 100 kids. And but I think you guys all know who you are, and you're all on my mind, so please keep that in mind. And some of you I might even talk about specifically as I go through here. So, Mr. Craig, you've cleaned a little bit, and you've worked on some videos. What else have you done? Well, the big thing that I got done is I went around with some poison and trapped a whole cup full of beetles to try and get rid of them. Yippee! What a great fun thing to do. No, it's sick. It's gross. But I hate them things crawling on me when I'm sleeping. So let's get rid of the beetles whenever we can. Another thing that I did, which I'm very proud of, is I finished my... I don't even know how many of these comic strips I've done. I still have to get to the Boys and Girls Club so I can scan it. Because it's right now it's hard. It's curved. The paper's a little curved. But this is the traditional size of a comic strip. When they would put them in the newspapers, they would almost always draw them this size. It's kind of cool. So everything that we've done in my classroom is drawn larger and then reduced to make it smaller. So that's a kind of a fun thing to keep in mind. We have been making comics in my classroom. Like I said, we've done 4 of them now. Mr. Ben sent me this awesome picture of our comics all framed up, and it warmed my heart. It made me feel really good. Like, look at all the work that my kids have done. So that is you kids. You kids have done all the work that you guys did. And I helped you. Don't forget it, you little punks. Oh, stop being so mean. But I pick on you because I love you. You know that. You know that too. I wanted to share something with you guys. When I was probably 10 years old, I got my hands on a comic book. This isn't the comic. This is a copy of the comic. But it was a comic called Supernatural Thrillers. And this was issue number 10. And it had a mummy, living mummy, fighting somebody in a tank. That was so cool. And I was like, wow, I need to get this comic. So I got it. And then as a kid, I went through it a couple times, and there was a particular page in here that had the living mummy in it, where it was his face. I don't know if you can see this right there. His face was right there. His face right here. And as a kid, as a 10-year-old kid, I would draw that. I would draw that face, and try to make it as best as I can, but I can't. I couldn't do very well. That was drawn originally by an artist by the name of Val Merrick, and I admire the heck out of that guy. He did a lot of the Frankenstein Monsters stuff when I was a kid too, and I loved that stuff. But Val Merrick drew that, and I drew it as a kid. I practiced drawing it. So one day, many years ago, I got a chance. I saw this ad in a newspaper where it said you can buy a page of original artwork from a comic book. And lo and behold, I bought the page. This turned out to be the page right here. And this is from The Living Mummy. There's one of a kind. There is no other pages like this. This is the original artwork where the artist has hand painted or hand inked all of this stuff. The letterist came in and did all these different things too. So it was a lot of really cool stuff that that can't be reproduced. This is a one-of-a-kind piece. And I didn't pay a lot of it for it back then, but right now it's probably worth $200 or $300. So that's kind of cool. But here is the panel right here. This is the panel that I used to try to draw from when I was 10 years old. So that I think that makes it very special to me. So it's just something super cool that I have a connection to this part of my youth, and sometimes I maybe have too much of a connection to my youth because I've got a whole basement full of comics. But that's cool too. What I want to talk to you guys about today is that we are going through some wacky, crazy times right now in our world. I know that I'm feeling it, and I'm in the middle of the sticks, and I'm sure that you guys are going bonkers as well. But and I even heard from one of my nephews that he's getting bored with video games. Bored with video games? A kid bored with video games? I don't even know if that's possible. Well, the thing that I want you guys to think about is that this time in history has never happened before, ever, to my knowledge. This is the first time that I'm experiencing anything like this. So I think that it's really different and really important and scary, kind of, too. It's not kind of, it's scary. But it's a part of our story. It's a part of the story that makes you, makes me, makes me, and it's part of who we are going to be forever. So this is a part of our history. And what better way to create that or to capture that by doing a comic page of that? So I know I've talked to some of you guys in the past about a graphic novel. In fact, many of you guys have pages that are already done. Christopher, Jamal have a couple pages for that. Josiah has a page. Tegan was working on a page, but then Tegan's also working on a ton of other things, which is good because I think she's learning a lot too. Or you are learning a lot, Tegan. That's good. We've got Olivia and Emily and Megan and just a whole slew of people that have 2-page stories already ready for the graphic novel. But there's always room for more. And in fact, there could be a whole chapter devoted to what we're doing now. And I think if that is something that you guys would like to do, don't let it overwhelm you, because by creating 2 pages, that can seem like a lot right away. But if you did a panel every day or a panel every 2 days, that could be pretty awesome too. You guys could get the pages done. Now, here's the problem, is that this is the size of the original comic pages. This is sort of the size that has traditionally been done. Well, let's measure one of those boxes once. Here's a green ruler. I wonder where I got that. So this panel is about 5 inches by 5 inches. So if you don't have paper this big, you don't have a big size sheet of paper like that, what you can do is get yourself a blank sheet of paper or anything that is pure white, so you can't see through it. So if we scan it, we don't want to be able to see through the imagery. But take that and make a 5-inch box and draw within that box. Now I'm not going to go to the edge of the paper and measure from the edge of the paper. I want to make a box inside of the paper. So if you look here, I'm actually going to make a box, and I'm making my mock-up here really dark so that you guys can see it. When I measure it here, we're going to make it 5 inches by 5 inches, and I measure 2 corners so that it's always going to be level. Some kids think that they can make something level by only measuring 1 point. You know what? Nope, don't work that way. We are not we're not robots. Robots can measure perfectly by only using 1 point. We're human beings, and so we need to actually make 2 points. So now here is our box right here, and we're going to try to think about how we can fill. If we made, okay, here's a big number 1. This is my first panel, and what I want to do is I want to think about all the things that I've done so far with the quarantine, and this is going to be my quarantine story. So one of the things I was doing was catching bugs. That's silly and stupid, but you know what? That might make a really funny panel that I'll remember someday in the future because that really happened. So what we want to do is, now that I've got my idea and I wrote my idea, I can kind of write that on the side. Let's see here. What do I want to say? I want to say I captured a cup full of beetles that won't be bugging me anymore. That won't be bugging me anymore. That's a funny joke. And I didn't even see. That's how funny I am, you guys. I didn't even mean that to be a joke, and it turned out to be a joke. I captured a cup full of beetles that won't be bugging me anymore. Gosh. God, I'm good. No, I'm kidding. That just happened accidentally. But we got to be in tune for some of that stuff, because creativity is about capturing those moments that easily can pass. Because if I wouldn't have caught that bugging me right away, who knows if that would have been even anything important. So now, what my job is now is I need to figure out how to fill this box in. Now, I could make a little tiny drawing here at the bottom, and a lot of kids tend to do that. Here, let me show you an example. Here's our box, and some kids will have their characters kind of standing right on the bottom of the panel, and they lose out on an opportunity of showing a lot of depth in the space. And what you want to do is, let's take that same type of an idea and let's put a horizon in there. A horizon is where the sky meets the ground. And you know what? That's today's crazy word of the day, horizon. So the word is horizon, and the line is where the sky meets the ground. We can see that really easily when we're in a desert, when we're looking out off into the desert, or when we're looking out at the ocean. We can see where the water meets the sky. That makes a horizon line. Sometimes in Wisconsin, there's trees all over the place, so we don't get a chance to see where that horizon line is, but you know what? It's still there. It still exists. So don't think that you're fooled. Don't be fooled by Mother Nature. The horizon line still exists. So now what we want to do is we can put our characters within this space, and voila, they'll be able to fill that space a little bit better. And I can, by making another character maybe a little bit further back, now all of a sudden I've made a road that goes back into space, and I add a little bit of perspective. Now these are stick people, but again, this is my sloppy copy, and this is just for me to kind of figure out how I want to lay things out. This is not how I'm going to lay this out. I was talking to you guys about a different thing. When we're making our sloppy copies, I want to figure out where I'm going to have myself in here. So I'm going to make a big version of myself, and I'm going to be holding a cup of bugs. So here's my hand. And again, I'm going fast. I'm working really fast so that I can kind of just figure out how I want this to be. And then I've got glasses, and I've got a nose, and I got a mustache, and I've got a beard, and I've got eyebrows, and ears, and some hair, And here is the cup of bugs right here. Right here. God, if I would drink that, I would die. That's nasty. So then I can kind of put these little specks of bugs in there. And then there's this place for a word bubble right here. And one of the things I could do is there's kind of an empty space down here where my chest is. I could either put another, you know what, I could put a hand in there to fill that space, because that'll make it more interesting. And that's your job as an artist, to make your drawing look interesting enough to hold your viewer's attention more than 3 seconds. When you go to an art museum, people will, on the average, spend 3 seconds looking at every piece of artwork. So that means that they're going to look up, go at their artwork and go, 1001, 1002, 1003. Let's go to the next thing. 1001, 1002, 1003. Let's go to the next thing. But you know what else that means? That means that there's going to be some things where you're going to be staring at it for 30 seconds. And that means it has to make the averages on the other ones go down to 1 second. So they're going to be like 1001, next, 1001, next, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. So that the longer you can get people to look at your artwork, the more successful you've been as an artist. So that's kind of a wacky way of explaining that, but it's pretty simplified. But let's just say that that's how it works. So in here I could kind of put another hand in here pointing at the cup, and voila, there is my hand. And then at the top here, maybe what I could do is, let's see, when was that I did that? That would have been March 27th, 2020. And all of a sudden I could put in there, I captured a cup full of beetles that won't be bugging me anymore. And you know what? I could even, if I'm in my little sick ways, I could put a little bit of a word bubble here that says what one of the beetles is saying here, maybe on the cup. Maybe there's a little beetle here, that's because there's a space there that I could fill up, and maybe the little beetle says, help me, help me. So now I've got a pretty cool layout for what I want to do with my first comic strip. Okay, and the next step for me to do is take this sloppy copy and transfer this now to our final drawing. Now remember, when we're doing our final drawing, we want to draw lightly, like a ninja, not like a Hulk. Hulk make dark line. Ninja make feather line. Ninja tickles your page with its pencil. Hulk, boom, tears a hole in your arm. Don't be a Hulk. What we want to do is we want to draw things out very lightly so that when we ink it out, we can erase things super easy. This drawing here, guys, this drawing took me more than 3 days, okay? I didn't work on it continuously because it's really hard to do that. When you're drawing with this much detail, it's like doing surgery. The joy is not in making the drawing. Ugh. The joy is in looking at it when it's done. Oh, that's nice. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. I think you get the idea, right? But I needed to draw this all lightly so that I could erase it with a pencil and go in here and ink it. And I used a bunch of different tools. Next episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about what you can do to start inking them. So if you want to start making a collection of drawings for 5" by 5" drawings of all the different fun things and crazy things and scary things and sad things too. It could be all up to you. I mean, these are your stories. Make them true to your life. That's what's going to make them, I think, really important, is that they're all coming from truth. So let's work on these together and be honest with ourselves. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to smile though too. And every day there's something worth smiling about. So these are some of the things I want you guys to start thinking about. If you're bored with making comics, you're crazy, because there's all kinds of options yet there. But if you're bored with making comics, you can make more Monster Crash things. Oh, I scanned in probably 100 different drawings, if not 200. And I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to get back at them because there's just so many. But if you guys work on these comics about what you're doing while you're isolated, that could be a really cool project. And you know what? That could potentially be a comic book in itself. So you guys could be possibly part of something even bigger, a project for the future. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up, and I hope you guys had fun watching this little video. I love making videos. I don't get a chance to do it nearly enough. Now I need to go and edit it, and that can be a pain in the caboose, but I'm going to do what I can. Because I got to get it ready for you guys by tomorrow. That's the deadline. And I was supposed to talk to you guys about the club spirit and really being part of the club. And you know what? I can't stress enough that if you're one of my kids, you know who you are, and you are part of something really big. Once you're a part of my team, like with Mr. Alex, once you're part of the creative crew, you're always a member of the creative crew. And once you're Craig's kid, you're always one of Craig's kids. And that's a really cool thing because it's a sense of belonging that I feel really good about. I hope you guys feel really good about too. And I hope that you guys are staying healthy and happy and getting lots of cool things done. And I hope you're not bored with video games because that's pretty crazy. So I'm Mr. Craig for the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay and the Youth Arts Initiative. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll try to do one next time with a little bit of fast forward drawing so that you guys can see even more of what we're doing. This right here is my sloppy copy, and I think I'm going to be able to work from that. I think that'll work out pretty good. And you know what? I created it right here in the last 10-15 minutes. So that's what you can be doing. And now, before you tell me, I don't have 15 minutes to do that, or I'm done with it in 15 minutes. My whole drawing only took 15 minutes. This drawing here took 3 days. Make something that you're going to really put some effort into, okay? And I want to see some of these. So if you have any questions, I think you can post them onto the website, and we can maybe even get a hold of some of those. Or even if you'd just like to say hi, and I'll maybe do a shout out to anybody that says hi to me. Mr. Craig, out of here, guys. I'm already well past the time that I should be. So get drawing! La la la. Make some eyes on him. Make some eyes on him.